Boom! Just like that.
We really are live. Hi, welcome to Stream of David Live. I am here with Matt as usual. Hi, Matt.
Hey, David. How are you?
Good. And we are on Spirituality Going Wild. We are on the Stream of David. We are on Law of Attraction 2.0, and we're on the Stream of David YouTube channel, all simultaneously via the magic of technology.
Dun, dun,
So we will be taking questions for the stream anytime. So start writing questions now if you have questions for the stream. The global reset is sort of our running topic these days, but you can ask anything that you want. If you did not see our reset summit from last Saturday, you need to watch the reset summit. Not right now. You can watch us live and participate live, but the next thing that you need to do if you didn't see that, or if you want to watch it again, is go catch the 2-hour reset summit that we did live with the stream last Saturday. Everywhere you're watching us right now, the reset summit is there in recorded form, and so you can go and watch it. A lot of great information, a lot of inspiring stories from our Taya Bootcamp mentors in the first half hour or so, and then there's a solid hour and a half of the stream answering questions from the panel and answering questions from the audience about any and everything. And there was a lot of great information regarding the current global reset that we're experiencing and what's going on with it, what it's really about, and how you can utilize this time in your life in a very productive, positive way. Matt, do you have anything to add to that?
It was super. It was a great experience, and I think we've never had that many people on the stream, speaking of the stream directly before, and I think that was fun, and it was great to have a big group of people on too. So yeah, it was a fantastic experience, and hopefully we can organize one very soon.
Yeah, we're planning to definitely do another one in the next week or two, and so we'll figure out a time and a date for that. We'll make an announcement everywhere you're watching us. You'll see the announcement. You'll see the posts about it, and we'll have a whole new panel on with us, and we'll be continuing our conversation with the stream. But if you're watching right now, you have an opportunity right now to interact with the stream, because I'm going to be channeling for everybody that's watching in just a few minutes. And Matt will ask those questions of the stream. I think you have some write-in questions of your own for them, probably.
Yeah. There are some questions we didn't get to answer from the last summit that I've noted down. I just need to find my piece of paper. And there are some questions that people have sent in during the week too that will be helpful, or that are interesting. And it's always fantastic getting to communicate with the stream, and who knows what their answers will be, or how far down the rabbit hole we'll go. But it's certainly a great opportunity to ask them any question and to get some insight from a much higher perspective.
Definitely. I think that anybody that participated, I've got a lot of positive feedback from the people that watched it last week. So like I said, if you haven't seen it after this video, go watch the 2-hour replay of the reset summit with the stream. A lot of great new information, very uplifting, a couple of hours too. So Matt,
that's fantastic. Oops, sorry.
We did hear from a lot of boot campers about how they're using this time for reset and things like that. Do you want to dive into that a little bit before we bring the stream in and before we let people sign on?
Yeah, sure. So look, I think, and this was a topic that came up a lot during the summit, and certainly when we're communicating in our base camp calls, and for people who are in boot camp at the moment. We're just very blessed to have a set of tools that help us deal with the current climate. And these are incredible times that probably won't be repeated for many more generations, and certainly have never happened, in the past. And so it's in times like this that you do need a daily practice, a daily mindful practice, or a daily spiritual practice to just get you through, I think. And I've certainly noticed that the days when I'm not as focused on my practice and on my intention and on staying up the spiral, they're much harder than the days when I am. And I think it's a lot less forgiving now given the current climate of things, than it was 6 months ago, when you could have a couple of days and not really think about it, and it would be kind of fine, and you'd be kind of great. But now,
if you go down your spiral now, you have plenty of fodder to feed on.
Yeah.
And continue to take your spiral even further down and build more negative momentum if you're allowing it. And the key is to not allow it, to keep the mindset in a positive state and keep your vibration high. And you're only going to do that if you're able to reach a higher perspective to view humanity, because it's very easy to open Facebook, turn on the news, open a news app and see death tolls and illnesses being spread and what's the economy going to do. And there's all sorts of negative things out there that can take you down your spiral into negative vibration. And what happens when you go down into negative vibration is everything that you manifest from that perspective is going to be negative. So you're going to be bringing negative things into your life. Now, with that said, the last thing that you want to do when you're down in negative vibration is to then beat yourself up about being in negative vibration, because that's just going to add even more negative momentum to that. You really want to acknowledge it. I'm down in negative vibration. We call it DTS in the Thai practice, down the spiral. I'm DTS right now. I know that everything that I do down in this lower vibration is going to have a negative outcome. I'm not going to do anything down here. I'm not going to make any plans. I'm not going to work on anything. My only job right now, regardless of what's going on in the world, is to raise my vibration, get some clarity, and then go revisit those topics from a higher vibrational perspective. Because from that higher vibration, you're going to have the solution to everything that you've manifested from lower vibration.
Yeah. Hey, Nicole, thanks for joining us. Guys, if you're watching and you want to say hello, drop some comments in Facebook or YouTube and start posting some questions. No questions are off limit. The stream really don't have a filter. Sometimes they can get David into trouble because they're quite blunt. But they do definitely have very profound answers to almost any questions.
Now let's play a game. Let's see how we can get the stream, how we can get me in trouble with the stream's answers tonight. Let's go.
Oh, God. Strap
With all these games on Facebook, why not make one more game out of, let's see how deep we can get the stream. Let's see how controversial we can get with the stream.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay.
That's up to you. I'm just kidding.
It'll be fun.
From up the spiral, feel compelled to down your spiral. Go get up your spiral and come back and ask a question from a higher vibration.
And that's something I was going to say, David, is that when the more you practice these tools, and it is a practice, right? Like any martial art, like anything we do, like any habit, it becomes ingrained because you do it through repetition.
It's interesting that you said that, because on the boot camp group call today, one of the boot campers said that she's got her child at home with her, and that she loves her child, but she runs her own business from home right now. She's trying to work on business. Her child is constantly, mommy, 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 mommy. I need this, I need that, and it's really stretching her in all these directions. And she said she didn't have time to do her practice. And I said, you made a great point right there, because the whole point of this Taya practice is not to set aside time to do it, but to get it so ingrained in your psyche, if you will, your subconscious mind, that you're running on autopilot with this practice all the time.
Yeah.
So the practice is not necessarily going to stop your business from having things that draw your attention. And the practice is not necessarily going to stop your 7-year-old child from saying, mommy, mommy, mommy constantly, because she's at home right now and not at school.
Yeah.
The practice is going to give you a different perspective to handle all of it from a higher vibrational perspective and have a more positive outcome regardless of what you're focusing on, and not go down your spiral because you're suddenly pulled in multiple directions, which is what you don't want. And we have complete control over our reaction to everything.
Yeah. And it's like, and David, you're absolutely right. You can bounce down and up instantly once you know how to do it. And just as we gladly accept anything positive we manifest, as we become more conscious of how powerful we really are in the things that we manifest, we have to be more careful of what we're manifesting when we're down the spiral, or what we're manifesting subconsciously.
Exactly.
And it's funny you should mention that, because I had my kids at home yesterday and had a fantastic day with them, wildly different compared to the day the week before. And it was a set intention. really focused on staying up my spiral. I'd spoken to my ex during the week, and she kind of prepped the kids, and we kind of did a bit of a reset with them, and we had a great day, which was good. I got a lot of work done. They got some stuff done. Their school week's almost finished here. So it really is about setting intention and about consciously living your every breath. We spend so much of our lives on autopilot without even realizing it. Distracting ourselves with TV, distracting ourselves with radio, distracting ourselves with social media, not really paying much attention to what was going on in the world. And this reset, as we're calling it, is a real opportunity to take stock of our lives, to just have a look and see, are you living the life you really want to live? Now's a fantastic opportunity to take the time to reset that, to learn some new skills, and to come out of this, when spring comes, a different person. Everyone is going to be changed dramatically anyway. Why don't you change yourself consciously? Good
point. Everyone is going to be changed no matter what. So that's a very, very good point.
Yeah.
So let's take a little break. And what we do, if you haven't watched this live broadcast before, I channel a group of non-physical entities that I call the stream. It's the core of source energy, and they are pure positive energy. They are pure love, and they will answer any and all questions as long as I can comprehend it. So they are limited to my vocabulary and my intellect. I do need to be able to understand your question to be able to receive it and speak back to it, because that's what they're using here. So that's the only limitation, but really there's nothing that you can't ask. And the stream blows me away all the time with their answers. So I always I don't remember much of what happens when I channel. So I usually go back and watch the broadcast back on tape, and I'm usually very delighted. I was very delighted at the Reset Summit. Some really cool stuff came out of that.
Oh, beautiful.
And that's why I'm telling all of you, go and spend a couple of hours tonight watching that Reset Summit all the way through, because there's just great information in there for what this time is all about, how to reset your life, and how to utilize this time in a positive way, and what it's really all about, which is not easy to understand, especially if you're glued to the news right now. It's certainly not easy to understand. So what we do to bring the stream in is we meditate together. I take a moment, I quiet my mind. I ask all of you to do the same. I set a positive intention for the stream to come through and deliver everything that we want and need in this interaction, and you can do the same. Even if you're watching this in the future, you can take this time to stop and meditate alongside us and raise your vibration so you have a more positive experience, and you get what you need out of this. Matt, you ready to go?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's go.
We are here.
Thank you for joining us. We have a nice collection of people watching today and some good energy, and we'd like to ask you some questions if we may.
We are eager to interact and answer your questions. Please proceed.
Fantastic. Thank you. To begin with, we had a fantastic summit last Saturday where people got an awful lot out of our interactions with you. Do you have any opening messages for us this week as we come into traditionally a very important period in some of the religions around the world here? It's Easter, as you know. Do you have any messages for us?
The overriding message that we have to share with all humanity right now, and certainly all humanity is not viewing this. All humanity is not ready for what we have to share. But those of you that are here are here for a reason. Those of you that are here have found your path to these teachings and this level of thought that has opened your mind, or perhaps will open your mind to new levels of thinking, perhaps where you have never allowed yourselves to go before. To understand that, yes, humanity is collectively ascending to a higher vibration. And yes, humanity has manifested this, what you call pandemic, that's going on around you. That is a human label that has been given to this. What is happening is an ascension of humanity, not to perfection, not to utopia, but ascension in raising your collective vibration and thus driving some change on your planet. And understand that while we totally understand that you, from your human perspective, can look upon the negative contrast. There is positive and negative on all topics, as you may or may not be aware. The negative in all of this certainly is mass illness and even what you call death. From our perspective, there is no death. From our perspective, your suffering is your perspective of your experience, and can be as temporary as you allow it to be. From our perspective, we see you creating your own realities. From our perspective, we see you here doing exactly what you all wanted to do from your higher perspective, your soul consciousness perspective, before you ever manifested as a human being on planet Earth. You are here living both positive and negative. You are here living what we use the term contrast, because you understand what we mean by and large when we say that. Positive and negative. That was your intention. Not one of you intended to come and live lives of perfection. Yet you fear pain so much. You fear negative so much. You fear economic downturns. You fear illness. You fear negative interactions with other people. You fear everything in your life not going perfectly. You are taught, and you have all absorbed a certain degree of fear across humanity. Your fear emotion developed across humanity, and your original fear emotion developed just as it is developed in your animal kingdom. Notice how your animals use fear in the moment and to get out of harm's way, perhaps, but then they are not walking around holding on to that residual fear in other areas of their life. They are free, they are abundant, and they are only fearing in the moment of harm. And certainly they manifest their realities just as you do. But you are far more intelligent than the animal kingdom. So you have created well beyond what they are able to create, but you are also more susceptible to the influence of others. You are very susceptible to the influence of those that you deem your leaders, who are telling you that there is right and there is wrong, and there is punishment and there is consequence for not doing as you were told. And here is a set of rules, and you need to abide by these if you wish to inherit the kingdom of heaven, or if you wish to have an abundant life as a human being, or whatever you're being told. And understand that these sets of rules and these limitations are contrasting as well, as all topics are. The positive in that is that it brought you together in communities and built a core society that was able to flourish and grow. What you have seen happening in the last 20 to 30 years on your planet, even the last 50 years, is a collective ascension, a questioning of all of your rules and your customs and your traditions, a questioning of your religions, if you will. And that questioning has led you to think beyond what you were told to think. And when you think beyond what you're told to think, you begin to question. Things do not add up, perhaps. And when you make these discoveries, then you set your sights on other things that you were taught, and you begin to question everything. And in your questioning of everything, you begin to chart your own course. You begin to discern your own preferences and decide for yourselves what is right and what is wrong for you. And what we see happening across planet Earth is more and more of you questioning, more and more of you setting off on your own paths, more and more of you ignoring the customs and traditions that you have been taught perhaps as a child, moving into your adulthood and understanding that you can live your lives however you wish to live them. And the rules are mostly by and large self-imposed, and that your participation in what you call mainstream society is truly your choice. And there are aspects of that that certainly work for many of you, and there are aspects of that go against everything that you are. And your collective questioning of all of this is what is causing this global shift. It is also causing the deterioration of your religions. Notice what has been going on with your most prolific religions on your planet. We will use Catholicism as an example. You have seen a disruption of that. You have seen a disruption of government in major countries. You continue to see these disruptions and believe that things are heading in the wrong direction. But what you are really doing is collectively destroying them. And not because they're all bad, but you are destroying them to rebuild them better, to bring back institutions that serve you on a higher level, where the old rules and the old laws are set aside, and new customs and new suggestions and new traditions are instilled that work in modern day society. There is evidence all around you of your evolution. Your bodies are evolving. You are changing physically. Your technology is certainly evolving even faster than your bodies are. Your bodies are having to catch up to your technology. Your world has sped up. Your world has evolved very quickly, and your technology has brought you there. You are more innovative now than you have ever been as humanity on planet Earth. And in all of this evolution and in all of this change, the ancient traditions and customs are not going to work for you. Even one generation ago, ideas and customs do not work for you. This is why most of you disagree with your parents so much, because you were born up to speed with the time that you entered, and they were born up to speed with their time. And if you go back yet another generation to your grandparents, they are certainly not operating their lives if they are still physical the way that you are, nor do you wish to operate your lives the way they did. Why is that? It's because you're ever evolving beings, and understand that the things that allowed you to operate your life successfully a decade ago, a generation ago, a century ago, are not going to work for you now. And you are all yearning for some guidance, but the guidance that we are offering you is vibrational guidance rooted in universal law, because that is the root of that which you are. And we are guiding all of you to go inward, to rediscover your own inner guidance. You all have a higher self. You all have a connection to our energy, each and every one of you. Whether you were speaking it the way that David does or not, it does not matter. You all have this connection. And the very best guidance that you are ever going to receive is going to be your own inner guidance. Though we are here to offer guidance, we are here to offer what David calls eternal wisdom, and indeed it is. That eternal wisdom is always going to guide you inward, to ask yourselves what is right or wrong. That is why we are not here predicting your future. That is why we are not here telling you where to go next vibrationally, other than managing your own. And that is why we are not here providing a set of rules and consequences for any of you. We are not taking your creative powers away from you. We have never, ever in the history of humanity desired that. In the history of the universe desired that. It's important that you understand that this bill of goods that you have been sold, that there is a deity in the sky issuing a set of rules that you must obey or be damned to hell, you're all questioning it. Why is that? You understand that you no longer need that threat to behave in a loving and kind way toward one another. And you are seeing the consequences of what can happen on your planet, across your planet, when you do not do that for yourselves. But you are doing it to yourselves. It is the collective consciousness, the collective fear. And from where you want to go next is up to you. And these are very exciting times for humanity. And it is our desire for all of you to understand that. And with that, we are here to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Fantastic opening, and as usual, very, very wise. You've said a couple of times that the direction that humanity takes vibrationally is up to us, and that, you know, spring is coming, and it's up to us consciously and collectively to determine how quickly that happens. On a practical level, for people who might be new to the message or who aren't advanced students of the Taya practice, what are some things people can do every day from today to help bring about that springtime sooner and to consciously contribute to the new vibrational setting of the planet?
We will begin the answer to this question by stating that we have said that we are not going to predict your future. However, we will predict that spring is indeed coming. And the reason that we will predict that for you is that we want you all to know that spring will always come. That positive always prevails over negative. The storms that roll through your lives personally and across your planet are storms created from your own lower vibration, whether in your personal experience or across the collective. These storms come through, they create some destruction. They ultimately make you stronger as human beings and ultimately guide you toward a solution that is your expansion. That is why you manifest them. So the idea of a novice at this, none of you are truly novices at this. You are all creating in your own life experience all the time. Everything that is flowing to you is flowing via your invitation. And understand that that invitation is not always in the form of your wanting. That invitation is some of your wanting, some of your fearing, some of your doubting, some of your worrying that it happened to your parents, so it will also happen to you. Things of this nature. You all have a mix of all of these things in your vibrational field. This is why you're all, every single one of you, receiving a mix of unwanted and wanted things. So there are things that you want very much. And if you're not receiving them, it's because you are going down in vibration and allowing fear to set in regarding these topics and causing static in the vibration that slows or even stops the manifestation of them. And notice that the things that are hardest for you to manifest intentionally are the things that you often believe you want the most. The more money, the better health, the satisfying relationships, the better body, the things that impact you in your daily life the most from your likely perspective are the things that you chase away out of your life experience because of your wanting them and because of your needing them. When you learn to raise your general vibration, it becomes a lot easier to align with the different vibrational notes that you want to hit, because your general vibration is higher. So where we would guide anyone to, whether you are prepared to dive into the Taya practice or not, is to work on things in your life that raise your vibration. Meditation, self-appreciation, perhaps an enhanced diet that makes your body feel better, more time in nature, perhaps more movement, more exercise, spending more time loving and appreciating you. How many of you spend time every single day thinking about how much you love and appreciate you? You are very often taught not to do that. You're taught very often to be selfless. But how much do you have to offer when you are not loving you? When you are loving you, you are connected directly to our energy, because that is how we feel about you. And vibrationally, you are not aligned with our energy when you are holding yourselves away from self-love. You are cutting off everything that is available to you from our vibrational field when you are in less than self-love. So when you love you and you spend time in self-appreciation, thinking about the very best aspects of you, our connection is flowing. And that is where you are getting your intuition. That is when you are inspired. That's when you are believing your dreams and trusting your abundance, because you're in high vibration. So to someone who is just discovering our words, that is the very best the starting point that we can offer you is to find a path every day to appreciating you. And then go from there, finding other things in your lives to appreciate. And there is always something for you to appreciate, even if it's the fact that you can draw a breath. That is something. That is a stepping block toward positivity. That is a stepping stone toward moving up your spiral to higher vibration. Sometimes these little steps can build momentum if you so allow. And every time, if you build momentum, you will go up your spiral. And you go up your spiral, positive things begin to happen. Solutions to all of your problems that you manifested when you were in lower vibrational state begin to flow in. Things you begin to solve things, and you've all done this. Each and every one of you have done this. You all have examples of this in your lives where you have had a problem that arrived and it seemed monumental. It seemed like it was going to be the end of you, perhaps. And a little time passes and polarity brings you up your spiral. You're up in higher vibrational state. You are happier, even if you don't know why you were happier. Suddenly you rethink these problems and the solutions flow in. Sometimes the solutions literally fall in your lap. They flow right to you. And when they do, then suddenly you feel blessed, you feel lucky. But understand that you created that blessing and you created that luck. And you hold the ability to get better and better and better at this all the time.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful message. And I think you're absolutely right. Just everyone needs to start small and appreciate themselves, and just spend even a minute in self-appreciation and looking for something to be grateful for, and watching that snowball of positivity grow.
If you are way down your spiral in negative emotion and you are not appreciating you and you are not appreciating life and you are in a state of fear, understand that it is a spiral. a virtual spiral, and you're not going to flip a switch and race to the top of your spiral to joy. There is a path that needs to be walked, but you will come to really appreciate that path. In doing a practice such as what we suggest, you will become proficient and even find joy in moving up this spiral, and you will find great joy and even power in being able to do it on demand from any position. And like everything else that you do in physical, taking time to practice it will make you better and better and better at it. And you are moving more and more vibrationally toward what you want when you intentionally manifest, when you intentionally focus. And when you stop the practice, then you regress. And then you get back into it. This is what being physical is. And being physical is all about polarity and all about your vibrational spiral. And if you learn nothing else from our teachings, we want all of you to understand your virtual vibrational spiral, because that is your true source of creation.
Thank you. That Cindy says these words are so soothing, and they certainly are. Another Facebook user, I'm sorry I can't see your name, said that this virus situation has certainly challenged my vibration, and I think all of us have felt it. The collective fear and uncertainty is palpable. And I think you're absolutely right. Having the tools that the TIRE Bootcamp provides us are a real framework for being able to understand and manage our vibration. But if you haven't done the bootcamp yet, that's fine. Just concentrate on anything you can to be grateful for.
The practice is something that we have delivered to all humanity. The boot camp is something for people who are ready to get in and do the work at a higher level. And we are happy to discuss that as well. That is something that any human being has the ability to manifest themselves to. But understand that you can learn these tools and begin to learn your spiral and start making progress as soon as right now. And that is very much what we want for all of you. You are absorbing all of this fear and all of these fear-based teachings from your news media. And we said to you many weeks ago, when this first broke, that the collective fear was going to make it worse. And where humanity was going to go from that point was up to humanity's collective consciousness, and the collective hysteria and the fear, it made it worse. And you've seen that play out before you. But understand also that from our perspective, there is no right or wrong to any of this. And you are all eternal beings. And from your perspective, the very worst thing that can happen to you is your death. Your death is a return to your completed state. And while we guide you to love your lives and live joyously and experience all that is physical, understand that if you were to succumb to something such as this, you would return to a state of pure joy, pure positive energy. And from that high vibrational state, want to come back to physical and do it all over again as you do, infinitely. So we guide you not to fear death, because the fear vibration is a low vibration, and the fear vibration manifests things in your life of like nature. You may not directly manifest your own demise instantaneously, but it will certainly create a bumpier path for you. Whereas if you're not fearing death, you are taking the advice of your healthcare professionals in a very high vibrational knowing state that you are going to be fine. And you are in an allowing state of allowing humanity to live their experience. And we understand that sort of zooming out and allowing all of humanity to live their contrast, it is one thing, and allowing those that you really love the most, your family members, your close friends, your children, your parents, to live their contrast without your influence is a far greater challenge for you. That is advanced work. That is something that we guide you to work your way toward. You are not going to flip a switch and suddenly be indifferent about the demise of someone that you love. You will likely never be indifferent about it, but you can view it very differently. You can appreciate their human life experience for what it is, for what they are manifesting. And that's how we guide you all to view this. And whether you accept our guidance or not is completely up to you. There is no punishment for not accepting our guidance. We are here offering a set of teachings that allow you to raise your vibration and elevate to a higher perspective and view life very differently, and ultimately exist in a state of almost continual joy. And David is on very often sharing his life experience, how he is in a state of almost continual joy. And when he does go down and he manifests problems just like the rest of you do. He is still a human being. He shares that as well. He shares how he goes back up his spiral and solves the problem, how the down the spiral storms are teaching in his life and guiding him to elevate his vibration even further, thus creating his own expansion. But learning the tools to raise your vibration is exactly what he does to allow our message to flow. And he wants, as we do, for every single one of you who are aligned with these teachings to learn just that.
Yes, yes. Beautiful message. And it's true, you can get much better at bouncing up and down your spiral. I'm just going to cross to a question here that was from some comments you made earlier, where a person says, that sounds exactly like my son. He has his own set of practice, and his focus is not what his parents or grandparents' generation did. He's really focused on his own time and how he wants to be in his time. Sometimes he appears rude, but he's totally working on his own progress, his own developments. So the comment is that he's doing great. The question is, and this is the one I'd like to ask, the person says, I get that he's working on his own stuff, but he needs to fit into this world financially and does not as of yet. Everyone who starts out on their own path, everyone who follows their heart has that moment of fear of, how will I pay for this? How will I pay the mortgage? How will I do, if I break away from the sheep's path, how will I survive? Do you have any guidance for this person and for us generally on the initial fear of following our heart, our true heart's desire?
We will start with a very simple answer and then roll into more complexity. The very simple answer is, you are all able to follow your heart and do whatever you want to do and find your paths to abundance, if you will, on your planet, having an abundance of the things that you want and the things that you need to survive and even thrive, regardless of what tradition speaks. You see examples of this all the time. You see some of the most financially successful and most admired on your planet are doing things that are playful, that are not work-oriented, that are not commerce-producing directly. Artists, athletes, performers, things of this nature that are doing things that please them. And those things that please them end up placing them in a vibration to please others. And they are rewarded handsomely for it. The spiritual community, if you will, on your planet has been suppressed somewhat and have allowed themselves to be suppressed somewhat, and thinking that anything spiritual must be free and could not possibly pay, or you could not earn a living doing something of that nature. We are using this as an example. Yet there are a handful of spiritual teachers who are thriving and abundant because they believe they could be. They didn't place themselves in a box and state that they cannot do this and they cannot be a free spirit and they cannot simply stay at the spot and never earn dollars. Now, we understand that the question is not necessarily about someone who is doing something such as that, but someone who is on their own timeline doing their own thing. What will occur is that human will create their own contrast from that perspective. And if they stay up their spiral in high vibration about it, a situation or a circumstance will arrive in their path that will facilitate them having what they want and need. And it's not anyone else's job, including the parents, to support that. Mm-hmm. It is not. So if you have a child that is a free spirit that is wanting to do their own thing, our advice to you is to allow them to live their contrast. Allow them to have their experience. Allow them to be the free spirit that they wish to be. But also understand that it is not your job to house them and feed them and clothe them for the rest of their lives while they do that. Say to them, go be your free self. Yeah. But go do it somewhere else. It's fine for you to say that. It is not your job to support your children forever. And in fact, we understand very well that every parent walks this sort of tightrope of wanting your children to be free spirits and not wanting to dampen their desires and lower their vibration and place them on what we call the sheep's path. You do not have to do that. But at the same time, there are a set of things that you do need to teach them if you so choose to function in your physical world. Knowledge is power. And in teaching that child what the expectations of your world are currently, while making them understand that these are the world's set of expectations of you, how you respond to that is up to you. And it's completely okay if you chart your own course, but it's important for you to understand that it's up to you to chart your course. You charting your course is not about you sitting in your bedroom and living off of your parents indefinitely.
Mm-hmm.
There is a time that you have established across humanity of adulthood.
Yeah.
And that is the vibration of planet Earth at this time. And it's okay for parents to draw that line and tell a child that this is your time of adulthood. Go be your free spirit self. But here's the transition period for you to figure out how to do that and earn your dollars, and encourage them to do it, or not earn their dollars and still figure out the thriving and abundance is not always directly tied to dollars. Very often it is. So we will default to that because your society is built around that. It is not always tied to dollars. Matt has watched David start his business as a spiritual leader, leaving a high-paying job, not always having consistent dollars flowing, but living in great abundance regardless. And that was a lesson that David had to manifest to teach himself. And he did. And Matt has witnessed his rolling through that period, manifesting all of the things that he needed and more, when the dollars were flowing and when they were not. That is possible for each and every one of you. It is a full state of trust and believing to arrive there. And there is certainly a trial and error period, if you will, of unlearning all of the commerce lessons that you have been taught that truly do not serve you, because most of them are rooted in fear.
Yeah. And in the Industrial Revolution, where the number of hours you could work in a day for a set fee meant your value for a factory owner. Thank you. That's been some fantastic knowledge, and I'll check to see if my kids are old enough to be pushed out. They're probably not at the moment. They need a few more years under the roof. We just want to change tack now to something that was brought up during the summit, and I think something that is going to be helpful to a lot of people at this time. Amber asks a question that often people ask, and that I think your guidance would be very welcome. What words of advice would you give someone that is not as spiritual as some of us, who has lost a loved one? We have a friend who passed away just last night, and Amber is feeling a lot of pain, and I think people around her who maybe aren't as spiritually inclined are suffering. Do you have any words of advice for a lay person, or just some general wisdom from a higher perspective, please?
Simply being present and loving and caring and respectful during that time, without trying to offer guidance. When a being is very far down their spiral, and when you've lost a loved one, you are naturally going to be down in lower vibration in a period of shock and grieving, unless you have done a lot of vibrational work to really appreciate that transition. And that is possible. There was one that took David's boot camp program, whose mother passed away while she was in boot camp, and it turned from a very sad, mournful experience to a magical experience for her. So it is possible for all of you to get there. But if someone doesn't have this belief system going, and we understand that's the crux of the question, you are not going to teach them things of that and that lower vibrational time. And most of what you have to say in words of comfort are going to land flat, if you will. The very best is to be a friend and be loving and be there for them if they want to talk, and simply allow them their contrast, allow them to flow through that period as they will. It is not your place nor your job or your responsibility to hold another being away from their contrast, regardless of how close you are to them. Allow other beings to have their contrast. Allow other beings to have their experience. If someone that you love is very down their spiral over the pandemic or over the death of a loved one, and they can't seem to find their paths out of it, you are limited in what you can offer them. The very best that you have to offer them is the very best version of you, which is you're up the spiral. And understand that if you are really up your spiral and you are really clear, you are not necessarily wanting to act as a cheerleader in these moments. There are some people that discover teaching such as this, and they become more spiritual, and they sort of go through a transition period where they're learning these things, and they're eager and they're excited and they're happy about it, and they're so elated that it's pouring out of them. But understand that when it's pouring out of you, if your friend is not there vibrationally or nowhere near that vibrational territory, you're going to be annoying to them. And in a moment of grief, that is not a time where you want to be annoying to them. You want to be a high vibrational friend, meaning that you are sending love and you are sending positive vibrations. You are there for support, but you are just there, your presence, allowing them to know that you care and that you're there and that you're not trying to push an agenda of any sort on them is the most high vibrational act that you can offer.
Beautiful. And do you have any words of guidance of how we can, once that person transitions and becomes pure positive energy, can we tap into their specific vibration? How can we find some comfort in trying to connect with them, with loved ones past?
Once you shed your human form, you reemerge into a pure energetic state. And in that state, you are omnipresent and omniscient. You have shed the human ego consciousness that overshadows the larger part of that which you are. And it is a quick transition because that part of you is always there. It is just overshadowed momentarily while you're in physical. When that transition occurs, that very best of them, that part of them that you appreciated the most has always been there, is still active. And all you need to do is appreciate that to tune into that energy, and you are connected to their vibration in that state indefinitely. That never ends. Regardless of how long it's been since they were physical, that vibration is still there. They are not in linear time. So the very best of your grandparents, even 20, 30, 50 years after their passing, you can still focus on that and be connected to that version of them that still exists.
That leads me to another question. If we can connect to their energy and feel it and be inspired by it, can we connect to anyone in the past's energy? Could we potentially connect to inspiring leaders and people who've done great work and channel their energy in our day-to-day?
You can connect to the inspiration that was them. You understand that from a human perspective, you very often are reading about someone or seeing someone on television or on the internet, if you will, and you're seeing a version of them that they are putting forth for public consumption, but you very likely don't know the wholeness of who they are. But it's perfectly fine for you to tap into that which you appreciated about them. And tapping into that version of them that you appreciate about them will, again, connect you with that energy, regardless of when they lived, who they were, how they were. You all create your own bubbles of reality. And you all know people that perhaps you revere very highly that someone else does not. And you have a difference of opinion about this person. Neither of you is right nor wrong. This is why we guide you to never worry about being right or wrong, because there is truly none of that. Your version of that person and your connection to them is your authentic connection, your version, and your bubble of reality. Don't allow another to talk you out of that, but also do not try to talk another into your version. Understand that your version of reality is your perception of what's happening to you in physical. And it only exists as your memories of it and your response to it. That is the only way it exists. This is why you can have such varying opinions on public figures. There's a lot of information about them, and one person adores them, the next person loathes them, and it is all okay. And the same thing goes for your good friends and people in your family. Have your own appreciation for. And leave it at that. David had a grandfather that he appreciated very much as a child. He was the only adult in his childhood that wasn't really trying to steer him in some direction where he didn't want to go, that just appreciated him for what he was. And after his passing, he discovered that his mother and his grandmother did not appreciate him at all on any level. But he knew a different version of his grandfather, and he stuck to that version and stayed in appreciation of him and continued a relationship with him vibrationally.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. I hope that's provided some comfort, Amber. I want to cross now to a different question from Nicole, who's a big fan, regularly on here. She says, I've always lived my life taking opportunities as they arise, with a thinking or a knowing that everything happens for a reason. Should I be more diligent about making decisions, or am I taking the easy way out, sort of riding the wave, so to speak? And I think this is a question that comes up a lot about the balance between intention and allowing.
In intention, we often guide you to go broader and broader and broader with your intention, and we understand that you want to be very intentional in your creation, and you want to hone in and have very specific timelines and very specific creations. Anything is possible, but there's a lot of vibrational work that needs to be done for most of you to arrive at a place where you can set a really specific intention and get out of your own way and allow that just to be and to manifest, and not worry about when and how and where and why. What happens inevitably is you'll be up your spiral, you'll set a positive intention, your vibration will drop a bit, and you'll revisit that intention and you'll begin to renegotiate it. David teaches this all the time in his boot camp program. You begin to renegotiate that intention because you are not feeling as strongly about it in this moment as you were the moment before, because you are not as a high vibration. That is how vibration works. When you are up your spiral and you are connected to our energy, you are creating positively in that moment. You are trusting your abundance, you are believing your dreams, and all of it is coming true. The reason it doesn't all come to full fruition is because then polarity drags you down, or your own thought patterns drag you down, or a combination of the two. And then you get down into lower vibration, you go back to that topic, and you begin canceling it out, asking when, why, how, where, reasoning with yourself that you have never done anything like that before, and that people like you don't do things like that, and that you're not born lucky, and you don't have the right parents, and you're not the right skin color, and all of these things. And the things that you were manifesting from up your spiral, you are now talking yourself out of in lower vibration. We guide you to notice that there is evidence all around you of others that are bucking that are manifesting the things that you want. Most of your desires are there because you see others having it and you want what they have. It's very common across humanity, and there's nothing wrong with it. But understand that if another can manifest it, whatever it is, so can you. And yes, there are some of you that have placed yourselves in the paths of having it come easier, thus being able to believe it easier than one who is having to sort of start from ground zero. But starting from ground zero is so satisfying. Why would you hold yourselves away from that? The starting from ground zero is far more satisfying than starting at 50 or 75% and having something drop into your lap.
Oh, 100%. Thank you. And you know, from your guidance, it's obvious that we're here for that journey of creation.
The journey of creation is exactly why you're here. And notice that the others around you that are born into what you might call privilege very often create their own obstacles later in life, or perhaps earlier in life. Disrupting the cycle of ease, because the cycle of ease does not serve your expansion ever, 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 because there's nothing new for you to create. The most dissatisfying human lives from David's perspective, and we have had an influence on him his entire life, is one who is born into great privilege, who never has to lift a finger, who never really creates anything and simply follows a path that they're told to follow for their entire lives and die with that experience. Perhaps with a lot of things, but without the expansion that they came here for.
Yeah. And with the fear that they'll lose those things.
Indeed, because they are tying those things to what their version of happiness is, yet they don't know their true version of happiness that's available to them because they've never felt the joy of true creation.
Yeah.
But very often the individuals that we are using in this example will reach midlife and manifest disease, manifest an illness. There is an obstacle that can be overcome. And you may look at one and believe that they've had the perfect life because they've always been wealthy and they've always been taken care of and they've always been financially abundant. Perhaps they even have the family that they want, and then suddenly they have cancer or some other or illness that creates a storm in their lives. Why is that? Because the soul consciousness was calling them forth, saying, this is not why you're here, to just have everything that you want. You need to disrupt. You need to go down your spiral and disrupt that life, and they do.
I certainly do. Which brings us to a nice another question. A lot of people are home right now and have the time to do, their hobbies or have more time on their hands, but they lack potentially some motivation, or they're struggling to just find their groove. Do you have any words on how we can be most productive in our time? That not in creating things, but just in having the most opportunity to grow. I think none of us want to come out of this regretting that we didn't spend the time better.
The very best action that you can take as a physically manifested being, which you all are at this time, if you were interacting with us in this way, is inspired action. And an inspired action is always high vibrational action. So you moving up your spiral, making your first order of business, raising your vibration to a higher level of trusting and knowing, and understand that when you raise your vibration and make it your new habit of thought to be in higher vibration, new inspiration will flow in. And not only will new inspiration flow in, new tools for you to create the things that you were inspired to create magically flow in. And the new tools flow in, and then suddenly the energy arrives. Your energy level is very much tied to your vibration. In fact, your energy level is your vibration. So when you raise your vibration and you maintain a high vibration, you are indeed raising your energy level. And that is why we guide you to raise your energy level, raise your vibration, and then get into the exercise routine. Then get into the new business endeavor, then make the decision that you need to make, then tackle the home maintenance project that you want to tackle, whatever it is. Raise your vibration about it, visualize the positive outcome that you want, and then take action from inspiration rather than making yourselves have to get it done. The having to get it done mode only lowers your vibration. You end up not having a positive outcome and having a rotten time along the way. And you're now have created, many of you, a scenario where you have the freedom of choice. You are no longer having to get in your car and perhaps drive to a job that you don't want to work at. You have some time on your hands, and you can do things differently than you've ever done. If you are truly seeking to, if you will, reset, if not disrupt your lives, we guide you to use this time such as that. David's boot camp is busier than it's ever been before. It's full of people who are now wanting to reset their lives. Whether you are wanting to take boot camp or not is inconsequential in this example. Find a way to reset your lives vibrationally first, if that is your true desire. If you are happy with everything the way that it is, then continue on your paths. The reason that we give you examples of resetting and elevating is because you're all expansive beings. The vast majority of you are not satisfied where you are, because if you arrive at a place of satisfaction, you are going to naturally want more. You are going to naturally want to disrupt and change and do something different, because you're too intelligent to just be static. And in those of you that have convinced yourselves that being static is okay, there's no right or wrong from our perspective. You can do that. But ask yourselves, are you being static because you fear change? Are you being static because you are afraid that if you put energy forth, things are good right now, and if you disrupt a little bit, they may get worse? If that is your answer, then you've got some vibrational work to do, because you're holding yourself still from a position of fear, and your higher self is not going to stand for that for very long. Your higher self, like in the example we provided earlier, is going to call you forth and going to create some disruption in your life if you don't create it for yourselves. You're expansive, and if you're not doing something to expand, your higher self will help you create a scenario where you are expanding regardless.
Oh, beautiful messages and some really profound words this week. Thank you. We're almost out of time. Do you have any final messages for us?
Again, we have shared a lot. The questions that have been offered are in perfection for the message that we wish to share, and we're always here to share with all of you. Understand that we come from a place of love, but David has not placed a lot of caveats on how we share our message with all of you. We want to be very pure and stay rooted in universal law, which is very, very simple. All creation occurs via attraction, and all of your attraction is governed by polarity. Understand those two things. Everything else springs forth from there. You get to live your lives however you wish to live them. There is no judgment from us whatsoever. We are not trying to place all of you on a sheep's path of spirituality, if you will. The spirituality means many different things to many different people. David uses the term very loosely because he is not that deep into spirituality. He sampled different things and determined that most of it was not for him. Most of them were human created tools to reach that which you can reach without the tools. Learn to reach where you want to go without the tools, understanding that your mind, your intention, and your higher self connection is all the power and all the tools that you ever need to have everything that you want. With much love, that is all we have.
Oh, namaste. Thank you.
Woo!
That was awesome.
They must have talked a lot because I am very dry right now.
Yeah. That's okay. No, that was fantastic, man. They were. That was exactly what I needed, and they were on fire today. Yeah.
Good.
So thank you, everyone. Yeah, Kate. Exactly what I need to be reminded of. Yeah, me too. It's been a rough week for people, I think. You know, with the kind of monotony and new reality setting in. So I think these messages were fantastic. As always, full of love, full of wisdom. There's so much there for everyone.
I want to just tell everybody again, go watch the Reset Summit if you haven't watched it.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the Stream's Message for Humanity, go to the Stream of David page. Go to the streamofdavid.com. That's playing on there all the time. So if you go to the streamofdavid.com, it's the first thing that pops up on the website. Listen to their message for humanity. I think it will resonate with all of you. Hi, Dan. We need to get Dan on here with us on camera.
Yeah, we do. We do, actually.
And then check out the Reset Summit. Those are two things that will really help you at this time get some clarity on what's going on. And everything, everything that's happening right now around us is all about our reaction to it and our perspective. And I have a very high perspective. I'm eager. I'm thrilled. And I'm social. I would love to be out of my house a little more than I am right now, but I'm really rolling through this in relative ease because I can't wait to see what's next. I'm excited for the reset. I want everybody to be in that space if that's what they want. I don't want people to be at home afraid and worried and all of those things. We're going to be okay. And the stream has said spring will come, and I can feel that and see that. Yeah. But we don't know what's next. We just know that spring will eventually come and that we're clearing the way for that right now. Yeah. And I think this is a very profound time on planet Earth. We're living through something that humanity has never seen anything just like this before. We've never been so developed and so dependent on certain things that we're now held away from. And it's really teaching us a lot of lessons. And I'm Mr. Appreciation, but man, I appreciate things now like eggs and toilet paper like I've never appreciated before. Little things, being able to leave my house. Now there's, I think they upped the fine where I live in Palm Springs. I think it's $5,000 now if you get caught without a mask.
Wow.
Yeah, my mask showed up from Amazon today, so now I can man didn't go out and grocery shop. Anyway, I do want to thank all of you. I will put the website up real quick if you want to go visit that. Oh, did you do it?
Yeah.
Okay. thestreamofdavid.com/Taya if you want to learn more about Taya. The Stream of David homepage has the Stream's Message for Humanity playing. And then anywhere you're watching us right now, the Reset Summit is there also. You just need to scroll down to last Saturday and you can watch the full Reset Summit. It's 2 hours, but it's a very good 2 hours of your time. It's better than anything on Netflix, in my opinion. I think it's good.
You're very unbiased opinion.
You're going to love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much as always for hosting.
Pleasure, man.
Thank you.
It's a great show.
For watching. Namaste.
Thank you guys. Great energy. Thank you.